A few days ago, I was reading the Discord and I saw something that honestly catch my attention. Not because it was some crazy new hero, not because somebody discovered some broken build. Actually, it was the opposite. A player said something really simple. He said wall spenders are starting to deal decent damage to his main March. Now, normally that wouldn't sound like a huge deal, but here is the thing: the guy saying it wasn't actually a wall spender. He was actually a whale. He was talking from the other side, and that's when I started paying actually attention because for years the default belief in the game like Age of Empire Mobile has been pretty simple. Whales win. Everybody else just participate. End of story. But the more I thought about that comment, the more I realized something. Maybe the gap isn't changing the way people think, maybe the players are changing. Now think about how most players look the whales. You see massive account, maxed heroes, maxed gear, maxed rings, huge power, and your brain immediately says, yeah, I can never compete with that. And I've been doing the same thing. Honestly, I still do it sometimes. Then you watch reports and occasionally something weird happen. The whale win, but not by much as expected. And this is one of the main reasons I'm keep thriving with my account that I'm currently having, and I don't wanna give it up at this account. The reason is simple behind, because at one point I'm going to be like a whale. I mean, not like exactly like a whale, but I'm going to have decent march, and that's why is the main reason I'm continue, even having like 11k Apex coins. I'm continue building this account slowly because I know at one point I'm going to have one very solid March that can compete with the whales. Now whales, everything is limited, by the way. It's limited to how many stars the hero can have, the level of the ring. I mean, there is limitations, okay? And by playing, you start grinding till you start seeing some limitation, like making a hero a 5-star. And currently, I have one hero for now that's 5-star. This is Zhao Yun, but yeah, I'm working over this thing, and I believe at one point I'm going to be able, to do decent damage to the whales. Now, the whales get value, but not insane value. The whales dominates, but still takes meaningful damage. And suddenly a different question appears. If wall spenders can beat whales, can they become dangerous to whales? Because those are very different conversations. That's when I started noticing something else. The strongest wall spender I know don't spend their time trying to break krakens. They spend their time trying to stop making mistakes. And I think this is a huge difference. Most players focus on the power, strong player focus over the efficiency. And the funny thing is that efficiency compounds. And this is one of the main reasons that the majority of the guides and advices you're going to see from YouTubers is, when you start, just build one legion or wait for generation 2 when the Wubu come and actually get and use Wubu and build your cavalry legions. But nobody's talking about the five marches on the battlefield. Nobody's talking about making 3-4 marches and etc. And the reason behind is pretty simple. Just because focusing over the efficiency of one legion is way better to have from like 2 average legions. And this efficiency compound. A bad decision hurts once. A good decision helps for months. I've been I have been seeing players with smaller accounts outperforming bigger accounts simply because they made fewer mistakes. Better events, better investments, better hero choices, better timing, nothing flashy, just fewer wasted resources. And eventually that start showing up in the reports. Then things got interesting because if the gap is actually shrinking, what causing it? I don't think it's whales getting weaker. Whales are still whales. I mean, let's be honest. A max account is still terrifying. The difference is that the game keep introducing systems that help efficient players. Catch-up mechanics, events, optimization opportunities, resource generation, and all these things. And one of the things that I'm currently doing with my account, my personal account, is getting benefits from those systems. Over the time where the Age of Empire mobile, and was a global launch, there was a new systems that just help you to build your account way more faster, and just to the old systems that exist in the game start becoming achievable very easy from the free-to-play players, for example. Obviously, the new systems is going to be hard to get, but at one point, the players is going to catch up, and this new systems is going to become an old system where the people are going to be able to catch up. Now, more ways to squeeze value from decisions, and that creates something important. The better you're understanding the game, the more value you can extract from your account. And to be fair, this game is not that easy. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, you open one hero, you see you have rings, you have gear, you have horse, you have adornment of this horse, you have Daventry, you have stars, so many things. I mean, it's not easy game, it's not that easy game. But anyway, the more the people understand this game, the more they start being more efficient and extract a value from the game. That's not a spending advice, that's a knowledge advantage, and knowledge scales surprisingly well in Age of Empire Mobile. This reminds me of something I've been seeing repeatedly. Two players spent exactly the same amount. One account look amazing, the other account feels permanently behind. Why? Usually it isn't the spending, it's decisions. One player upgrade everything, the other player upgrade the right thing. One player chase every new release, the other player skip 5 things and invest heavily into one thing. One player react, the other player do a planning. And 6 months later, the difference looks enormous. That's why I think many players underestimate how dangerous inefficiency is actually are. Then I notice a mistake I see all the time. Players compare themselves to a whales. Which sounds logical, to be fair, but I think it's actually the wrong comparison, because most whale spenders will never wake up tomorrow and become a krakens. And this is one of the things also with the YouTube and the things as a guide inside, especially if you're looking for some kraken. They're giving some great suggestion or something like this, but this is a great suggestions for their account, for their rings, for their horses, for their 5-star heroes. It's not for free-to-play player who are not able to, even to make one hero 5-star. Is struggling to make one hero 5-star. I mean, this is two completely different things, and it may look efficient on the paper, but it's actually efficient on the paper for the whale or kraken who is showing you up this thing, and not exactly for your account. And this is not a realistic goal. The realistic goal is becoming stronger than other wall spenders if you're spending something on the game. The stronger than average spender. Then becoming irrelevant in the fights. Then becoming somebody people actually need to pay attention to. That's how progression happen, not through giant jumps. And you're going to see this over and over. Like, okay, we're going to rally this thing. We're needing Steven, or we're needing I don't know, John to be present there, and come with their legions or their hero composition, hero team to do the rallying. You're going to hear some names in the process, and this is the one of the final steps of the end game. I can, if I can actually use this word. Now, through hundreds of small decisions, and honestly, I think that's where many players quit too early. They compare their chapter 1 to somebody else chapter 20. What surprised me most is that whales can actually make mistakes too. The community sometimes act like spending automatically creates perfect decision. And one of the things, by the way, I get as advice back in the days when I was, deciding to make videos from one way bigger YouTuber from me, was you need to be a whale so people can hear you. And to some extent, this is actually true, because somebody who is having like I don't know how much power I have, like 28 million, or somebody who is having 128 million. I mean, obviously the people are going to listen to the person who is like 128 million. And to some extent, I actually understand that, because the whales have access to all the resources of the game. Some of the things a free-to-play player may never experience. It's just because it's not the best investment at this moment. But the whales and krakens can invest in whatever they like, and they can actually recover pretty easy. Till for whale spender, it's going to be very hard for their account to recover. And again, people are thinking that the whales are creating perfect decisions. It doesn't. I've been seeing whales invest into heroes that disappeared. They invest into mechanics that got replaced. I see whales chase hypes. I see whales regret upgrading. Money doesn't remove mistakes. It just make mistakes more expensive, and that's where efficient players can grind giant around. Because a bad whale decision is still a bad whale decision. Then another realization hit me. Maybe I've been measuring the wrong things. Most players measure power. Players, we should be measuring damage efficiency. Maybe we should measure damage efficiency, or account efficiency, or progression efficiency, because power is easy to buy. Efficiency is harder. And efficiency is usually what determines how much value you get from the power you already have. I've been starting to notice this more and more when I look at the reports. Some accounts consistently overperform, other consistency underperform. And the difference often has nothing to do with the spending. Honestly, that's why that Discord comment stayed in my head. Not because it proved whales are weak, not because it proved whale spenders are suddenly becoming some overpowered, but because it challenged our assumption. The assumption that spending is the only thing that matters. I don't think that's true anymore. I think spending still matter a lot, but I think efficiency matter more than most players actually realize. And every update that rewards that small decisions makes that even more true. So now I'm curious, have you noticed the same thing? Do you think the gap between whales and whale spenders are actually getting smaller? Or do you think players are simply becoming smarter with their accounts? Let me know in the comments below, because honestly I think that's one of the most interesting changes happening in Age of Empire Mobile right now. So far, I'm Burgas. I wish you a great day. Don't forget to hit one like, also subscribe for more Age of Empire Mobile content. Wish you a great day and see you in the next video.